Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you as always. We've got Justin Caitlin high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
A lot of wet weather out there all over the place. I don't know if you're getting any of that or not. I hope your week has been good, and we can wrap it up for you with put a little bow on it. Big show today. As always, our good friend Todd Leary's on with us. We'll talk to Drew Davis to talk about that great 2021 class in Indiana that is just unbelievably stacked. Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle will join us. We'll talk some spring football. We got a lot to get to. Before we do that, though, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are a look at your daily Hoosier headlines for this 22nd day of February 2019. As IU women back on the winning track after getting an impressive resume-building win last night over number 10 Iowa, 75-73. And Big Ten men's action last night, Michigan over Minnesota, 69-60. And Indiana set to take on Iowa tonight at Iowa in Iowa City. That game scheduled for 9 o'clock right here on Big X Sports Radio. Those are a look at your daily Hoosier headlines for this 22nd day of February 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
All right, there's your headlines. A lot to get to. The Zion Williamson Duke saga continues. We're going to talk about the vulgar chants in college sports. And, of course, hey, how about that big win by Indiana women's team last night on the road?
Yeah.
What a bounce back. They lost a tough one at home to Rutgers the other night. I was at that game, and I think I have to look, but I think Allie Patberg may be back. And what a difference that makes, and that is a perfect example of how much of a difference that makes. Is they can, if that is the case, then they could get poised to make a nice little run here at the end of the season and heading into tournament time. So good luck to the women's team and Terry Morin, and we'll be following them as they continue their postseason run. So at least we'll have somebody to follow in the postseason in Indiana.
Yeah, actually, I turned that game off last night because I flipped it on. It was nowhere close. I was like, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing, almost as bad as the men. So I turned it off, wake up this morning, and I'm like, what? Terry Morin got her 100th win. That means Indiana came back and won. An impressive comeback.
Yeah, I mean, just a great job, especially like I said, there was a bounce to Rutgers. Good stuff, man. They're doing well.
No doubt.
They're doing well. Man, there's all kinds of stuff going on in college athletics. You had did you see a stuffed animal got thrown on the floor at Georgia the other night, and it cost them a game?
Still think that's ridiculous.
It is unbelievably ridiculous. And then that leads us into the vulgar chants. You know, the other night we had in the Purdue game, there was a chant that was directed directly at Matt Harms. Deservingly or not, doesn't matter. To me, that's over the line. Yeah. But the stuff that goes on in college sports, it's a part of athletics, man. Yeah. There was a thread yesterday, people complaining on an IU board about just about all of it. And I'm like, y'all need to chill. Right. Like, this is part of sports to a degree. Now, there is a line, and that was over the line. Now, and the next question is, well, where's the line? Well, I think that's up to people, society, what they deem acceptable or not acceptable. But I think direct personal attacks are not acceptable. Right. But, you know, stuff that's funny, they made an example. As a matter of fact, I'm reading it right now, looking at it right now. It just happened to be popped up that back in 2015, Indiana gave out cards to the students. And it would, you know, say stuff like, don't forget to hold up your IDS inserts during pregame introductions. During Purdue free throws, we will be singing the FarmersOnly.com theme song, which I found particularly funny. But it's just creative stuff like that, which I think is good and fun and healthy. Yeah. down at Duke, when I was at Duke this year for the IU Duke game, they handed out sheets. This is nothing compared to what their sheets are. They are front and back and a full sheet of paper. I'm looking at a half piece of a paper for this IU thing, and half of that paper is taken up by logos. So there's really nothing on this. This is candy, child's play compared to what Purdue does. One of the best student sections, maybe the best in college athletics.
You meant Duke, right?
Huh?
You meant Duke, right?
Yes.
Okay. You said Purdue.
Oh, sorry.
Just trying to clarify.
No, thank you. But yeah, Duke, and they do it, and there's stuff on there like they'll go through the opposing players' Twitter profiles or Instagram profiles and pick out anything that's kind of funny. The one was so and so refers to himself in the third person. Just innocuous stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with any of that stuff, man. Yeah. Don't go over the line, but it's part of the game.
Right.
You got Archie Miller, your head coach, at the beginning of the season telling the student section to pick out their best player and just boo him relentlessly during the game. Well, to me, there's no difference. If that's okay, which it more than is okay, but if that's okay, you can't do creative chants either. People need to lighten up, man. We're too PC today. Everybody's too PC. Everybody's got to worry about it, making everybody happy, giving everybody their trophy, making sure everybody feels good. Don't let your feelers get hurt, because God knows in the real world that's how it is.
Well, and much like it is in sports, it's the same in the real world. Everybody's got a different line in terms of if you crossed it or not.
Right, and that's the thing. You have to let society deem that what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. I think that they usually do a pretty good job of metering out that line. Yeah. And it's kind of funny that Fred Glass is apologizing to Purdue for one chant, yet every game, every basketball game, every football game that they play their school song, how does their school song end?
IU sucks.
Every game, every time. So I don't want to hear anything about a chant. I'm just, and as a matter of fact, to his great credit, Matt Painter, in talking about it with the Indy Star, Nathan Baird it's from the Courier-Journal. So it may have been the Star, actually, that it originally came from. But anyway, Nathan Baird did a piece, and he was talking to Matt Painter. And you may be able to find the audio on this somewhere. But he's asked about this, and he says, first of all, I didn't hear the chant. He didn't hear it, and which I don't know how you didn't. But he said, I heard it during when I rewatched the game. But he said, here's the great response. He was asked after the game, Painter had said such chants are part of competitive sports. There we go. Great minds think alike. I asked today if he felt there was a difference between more general chants, which ones I'm talking about, and ones directed at a specific player. Here's what he said. It's an easy answer for me, because that was something that happened during the course of a game, and it goes towards an individual, and it shouldn't have happened, and it does. But we do something towards them, and it's a chant that's inappropriate too. So how can we be mad? You know what I mean? How can we get upset at them? We've got to clean up our own backyard before we can point a finger. And then he was asked directly, so you're not an IU Sucks fan? I am not an IU Sucks fan. It's just something that when I'm 20 years old, I probably would be. When you get older and you grow through things and you're coaching a team and you're trying to set an example, it's not something you want to be said during a game, especially when you have recruits in and have families in and try to sell what a classy place Purdue is. Yeah. When do you do that? When you do that, it's hard. So there you go. There's Matt Painter's response on that.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely. It's a stand-up. Now, does that make any change? I don't know. I think eventually it will. I mean, it started last year with the Tyler Trent movement, and they temporarily changed it to Cancer Sucks, which why it wouldn't be a great idea to always say Cancer Sucks, I don't know. I guess it's more important for them to say IU sucks, but great opportunity for them to really do something special. They did it temporarily, but I've always found that to be a little disgusting, to be honest with you, because it's an every time thing. Yeah. It's a scheduled, planned thing.
Oh, and it's not just football and basketball games. It's all Purdue sporting events. If they play the fight song, that's what's getting chanted at the end.
Well, but if it's not a Purdue football or basketball game, who's there to see it?
It's true.
You think people are driving out in droves to see Purdue volleyball?
Not likely.
Not likely at all. Hey, we've got a big show coming up today. Like I said, our good friend Todd Leary's along. We're going to talk about the Indiana-Iowa matchup tonight. We'll hear from Archie Miller as he met with the media yesterday. Drew Davis is on. We're going to talk about this 2021 class in Indiana that is absolutely loaded with talent, man. I mean, Jalen Blackman, Christian Lander, Caleb First, man, and there's many, many more. But we'll talk about that. Also, Sammy Jacobs, Hoosier Huddle. We'll talk a little spring football. So that's going to take us to our next break. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is coming right back.
Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday.
Covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number. alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this.
Give it about 2 minutes on Sammy.
Big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Indiana Sports Beats. Hope your morning and day or week has gone well. Been a long one.
Yeah,
a lot going on tonight. Indiana basketball is in Iowa. They'll take on the Hawkeyes tonight. The women's team was in Iowa last night. They took care of business. Can the men follow suit?
They should have just rode together.
Yeah.
Kidding.
But isn't it funny that one team they're leaving now? I wonder if the men's team went to the game.
Maybe.
I wonder if they were there in time to go. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Have that support, especially for that win. That would have been great.
Yep.
What were we talking about at the end of the last segment?
The vulgarities at basketball games.
Okay, I don't know if we were still talking about that or not, but. But yeah, it's been a big topic, but I find it funny that Fred Glass is making a big to-do out of this in the midst of all that's going on right now. But of course, you got to deal with it. But and I'm not saying that shouldn't have been dealt with. I think it could have been dealt with in a little bit less public manner, making it all grandstanding about it. Well, I'm going to send out an email to everybody and. Make sure that everybody knows that I'm doing something here. It just seemed a little over the top for that. But what are you going to do? Hey, let us know what your thoughts are. Hit us up on the text line. Start getting that thing lit up today, 812-269-6367. Joker posted something on Facebook, on Indiana Sports Beat Facebook, some Air Zions, a picture of Air Zions.
I saw that.
Yeah, pretty funny stuff. But he's Zion Williams with a mild, basically a sprain. He's going to be fine. I'm surprised if he doesn't play their next game. Now you can bet that there's a team of shoe doctors from Nike following him now. I bet,
and they're freaking out.
Huh?
They're probably freaking out. Nike.
Oh, yeah, they were. But, hey, we got Sammy Jacobs joining us this morning. Sammy, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, we're getting by. Just another week, another 50 cents, and here we are.
Yeah, it's another week, a week closer to spring practice, and hopefully a week closer to warmer weather.
That's for daggone sure, man. I'm done with the winter weather, and I'm ready to get moving forward. And spring practice, like you said, around the corner, and kind of Indiana going into the spring with a little bit of bounce in their step, man. They're high on their toes. You got a great quarterback room to start with. That a great quarterback battle could probably ensue in this.
Yeah, you bring in 3 quarterbacks who each have upsides and big question marks, with Peyton Ramsey, who's the most experienced guy coming back, Jack Tuttle, who's the transfer, former 4-star, Elite 11 quarterback in high school. He's transferring in from Utah. He has a lot of potential. And then you have Michael Penix, who, it's coming off a knee surgery, and all indications and quotes coming out of Bloomington are that he's, ahead of schedule and looks good and should be able to throw his name in the ring. Now, he probably is, not going to be cleared for contact during the spring, but he should be able to participate in spring practice.
Yeah, coming out of spring, do they usually name a starter at that time, or will they wait until fall camp?
I think you wait until fall camp, unless somebody is clear. But with Tuttle not being eligible yet, with that announcement still not being announced, and Penix recovering from knee surgery, it's not fair to name a starter based on that. So I think they'd wait until fall camp.
Right. When is that announcement expected to come in regards to his eligibility, in which he is seeking instant eligibility?
I get that question a lot, and I will give you the answer that I give everybody else. You're dealing with the NCAA, so your guess is as good as mine. Justin Fields at Ohio State's, waiver got accepted probably the minute that he put it in. But we'll see. It's the NCAA has no, timeline or set timeline that people could, reasonably follow. So, your guess is as good as mine, Jim. As good as anybody else's.
Well, the one good thing that we know is he. Oh, it's right. No, we're talking eligibility here. I was going to say he can't even play the 4 games without that eligibility.
I'm sorry.
I said I forgot. I was thinking that he could at least play 4 games, but that's a redshirt rule. Not this is eligibility, so he won't even be able to do that unless he has this eligibility granted. Which is there any reason that you could foresee him not getting this with everyone else pretty much getting eligibility?
I don't think so. I'm thinking that they're pretty confident he'll be eligible. But again, it's the NCAA, and they have a wacky way of doing things, and you're still taking a chance. But I think they feel pretty confident he'll be ready to play in the fall.
And that's excellent. What are some of the other great battles that we may expect to see in spring, positional wise?
Along the offensive line, there's some battles that are going to be taking place along the interior. Who's going to play center and take over for Wes Martin as well. There might be some shuffling there. Running back, you bring in Samson James. He'll battle for some carries and things like that. There's a lot of other smaller battles where guys' roles are defined a little bit more. But there's still some reps and some touches to be won.
Absolutely, and taking a page from basketball this year, people obviously need to maintain expectations. Not that expectations are going wild for the football program, but I think with a new offensive coordinator and 2 new highly talented quarterbacks in that quarterback room, and with the rest of the offensive pieces, running backs, man, they got running back. What a great is this possibly the greatest group of running backs that Indiana has had at one time?
Probably. I mean, a couple of them haven't even played a snap yet, so it's a big wait and see. Wait and see. A lot of guys come in with a lot of hype and never produce. So,
right.
Yeah, that's a good question for November.
Yeah, because you got Cole Guest, who we know what he can do, but he's coming back off of an injury too, and we have to see that he can perform at the same level that he did. But if that's the case, that's a great piece that they can add that they didn't have last year, that he can come back from that injury he suffered. And then you've got last year's breakout star and Ronnie Walker also. Stevie Scott, who I was talking about, breakout star, Stevie Scott, Ronnie Walker. Then, of course, the new guys that are coming in as well. We don't know what they can do, how much they're going to get to play because they're freshmen. But it's a great group they have in that running backs room. I mean, it may be. Is that the strongest unit on the team?
Probably. The defensive back room is pretty good too. But I'd put the running backs up with any of them, and the wide receivers are good as well. You got everybody back from last year. Plus, you could, maybe switch out Cole Guest, the wide receiver room, and put him in the slot and count him as a receiver if they choose to do so. So it, running back room's up there, but there are also a lot of pretty good other rooms on this roster as well.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be an exciting time offensively for Indiana next year. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to see the offensive scheme that Coach DeBoer installs and how he uses all these pieces we're talking about, because he's got a lot of good things at his disposal to put together.
Yeah, he's had a history of his offense being able to put the best players on the field all at the same time. Last year at Fresno State, he had 3 running backs with 70 carries apiece. And, I think the modern running back, while he might not admit it up front, is very happy to not carry the ball 30 times a game and tone it down a little bit, go maybe 20 and save some carries, for the future, since the running back life at the next level is so short. They like to keep some tread on those tires while they can. So having a deep running back room like Indiana has, a guy like Kalen DeBoer who knows how to use running backs and not overuse them or wear them out before their eligibility is exhausted, it's going to be a tool that Indiana can use pretty well. And then we'll see what scheme he puts in, and we'll see which quarterbacks can play. And I don't expect to see all the little things in spring practice that you might see in a game, but you'll see a good base of the offense probably.
And besides an obvious answer to this question, next year, with on paper the exciting pieces that may be put into play, and with a new inventive and exciting offensive coordinator and Coach DeBoer, what can some of the fans expect to see offensively from this team next year?
I don't know. It's all a guess until you see a practice with Coach DeBoer. A couple practices with Coach DeBoer, but his goal is to, take care of the ball and be efficient with it, and if you can do and get us explosive plays. And he said in his introductory press conference, if you could get those two things, you're going to win 90% of your games. Now, I don't know. There's a lot of other factors that go into that. I'd be shocked if Indiana won 90% of their games. But that's what he's going to do. He's going to try and create explosive plays and take care of the ball, because those are the two things that IU struggled with last year, despite having, the quarterback that coaches and some fans and other people thought was the most responsible quarterback with the ball. He threw 15 interceptions, fumbled another couple of times. So, if they could take care of the ball, create a few more explosive plays, you got to see where the dice fall.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I can't wait for spring ball to get out, just for a couple reasons. Number one, that means it's spring and it'll be warmer, but it'll be good to see some football getting thrown around and see what some of the exciting things that may be happening there. Sammy, I thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I hope you had a great week, and I hope you have a good weekend this weekend.
All right. Thanks, Jim. You as well.
All right, brother. Sammy Jacobs, HoosierHuddle.com. Make sure you check that out, that coverage there as well. But we've got a lot more coming up on the show. Indiana Sports Beat, of course. Todd Leary is going to be with us in the next hour. Drew Davis from Peaks.com. We're talking about that 2021 class in basketball for the state of Indiana and what a loaded one it is. But plenty more coming up. Indiana Sports Beat's back right after this.
When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch specials. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
1 minute.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995.
Here is Friday. Hope your week is gone well. Hope it's going well, and you're headed towards the weekend. Hope we can just catapult you there. A lot coming up on the program today. Todd Leary is going to be with us. We're going to talk about the Indiana-Iowa matchup tonight. Hopefully the Hoosiers can follow up on the counterpart of the women. Last night they go to Iowa City and knock off the Hawkeyes 75-73. Big win for Indiana. The Iowa women's team is ranked 10th. So there's a top 10 win for the women's program. Great win for them, especially coming off of a tough loss to Rutgers at home the other night. Very, very tight game. They just let that one slip away. But, man, they got a good thing going there. And you talk about a team that's got a foundation. This team is built on youth, freshmen and sophomores. Yeah. And, man, are they playing well. So, and they got Allie Patberg back. They had lost her for a while, and they went through a skid because of it. Teams are disrupted when you lose a key component. I mean, obviously, but to really illustrate that, look at Duke. Look what happens when Zion went down in that game. They get crushed at home by North Carolina. Crushed. Man, what a difference that made, having him out. And of course, the same difference of Allie Patberg is what I was referring to, the difference that made. And with her back, wow, what a win to go get. So congratulations to Terry Moore and that women's program as they continue to roll. And like I said, we will continue to follow them as they move forward. Drew Davis will be on with us at Peaks.com. We're going to talk recruiting, man. The 2021 class in Indiana is just absolutely freaking loaded with talent. And we'll talk about a lot of those guys. Jalen Blackman, for one, he may obliterate Damon Bailey's scoring record, and that he's lighting it up, and he's the best Blackman of the bunch, I think. Yeah. From a long line of Blackmans that can play basketball, from pops on down. But what a run they have had as a family. Yeah. And currently IU has a Blackman on the roster right now. Of course, he's a walk-on. But Jalen looking to be the best recruit yet out of that family. And that's, like I said, that's saying something. But we'll look forward to that, talking to Drew about that as well. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Your thoughts, comments. You got questions for Todd or Drew? Sammy? Man, I'm getting so confused. Todd or Drew. I'm going to put an X through Sammy. He's done. Bye, Sammy. So, yeah, a lot to get to. Hit us up on the text line, your questions. Make sure you like or follow us on Facebook. You can find the show rebroadcast on Apple Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, thedailyhoosier.com, or indianasportsbeat.com. So make sure you follow us, and you can get us anywhere because
we're ubiquitous.
There you go.
I was like, why do you have that awkward pause? Oh, yeah.
Perfect placement for a key word. Man, I lost my train of thought, but looking forward to tonight to see if Indiana can get off the schneid. I think that they may have a better chance to do it on the road for some reason. May feel a little less pressure away from home. And I think that may be the case. Just a little less pressure. We'll see, though. They're going to have the opportunities tonight. They will take on the Hawkeyes, and Iowa's a good team. They're an NCAA team. They've got some decent wins. Didn't they beat Michigan by 20?
I believe so. Yeah. Let me make sure.
I think that's who beat Michigan recently. Pounded them. But they've had a good season. Fran McCaffrey building that program up. He's having some success recruiting. He's got a couple of sons that are pretty good daggone ball players. Yeah. I'm sure he wishes he could have landed DJ Carton, who came out of Bettendorf, Iowa, but he picked Ohio State instead. He'll have to face him for the next couple of years. But
yeah, Iowa did beat Michigan by 15. They're 20-6. You realize that?
Well, they're what?
Iowa is 20-6.
They've had a good year, man.
Yeah.
That's an exceptional good year. And you add the fact that you beat the national runner-up by 20, who's a top 5 team right now. Not bad. Yeah. That's what Indiana faces tonight. But they faced those tall tasks. It's not that we know that they can do it. After they went into Michigan State and won that game, the way they played, we know they can. They just haven't. They just not have been able to get things together. Yeah. It sure is frustrating for a lot of people. There's a lot of hair getting pulled out.
Hey, Tim's got a pretty decent idea to the text line. Said IU women beat number 10 Iowa last night. They looked good. Or hitting threes, something the men's team doesn't do. Maybe we can just send them to Iowa tonight to play instead of the men's team. Can't hurt.
Hey, I said the other night when I was at the Iowa or the Rutgers Indiana women's game, they hit more threes normally than the men's team do in a game, but their free throw shooting also, I think they were around 90%.
Right where you should be.
Exactly, right where you should be, and they could probably use some of their shooting technique.
Yeah.
That's for certain. Maybe they should pal around with them and pair up. Everybody pairs up with the player, and they ask them, so how do you shoot free throws so well? Well, let me show you. You just do the same thing every time. Pretty simple.
I love your college athlete voice.
Man. You got to come up with something, I guess. I don't think I had that good of a voice in college. But Indiana taking on Iowa tonight on the road. 6 games left in the season. They're playing for pride right now. But truth be told, I mean, they still have the opportunity to play themselves into an NIT berth. But like Todd Leary keeps saying, Do you want that? Who cares? He is so opposed to the NIT because it's not the NCAA tournament. Those guys are so used to that. It's like, what? What is this NIT you speak of?
All right.
It's not even on their radar. Doesn't even want to play in it. That's, to me, though, that is a mind that is just used to doing great things.
Right.
And things less than that are not acceptable. And that's how it should be. That's what the culture used to be like, and that culture has been lost. It's up to Archie Miller to rebuild that at Indiana, to rebuild that kind of, what is this NIT you speak of, mantra.
I mean, at the end of the day, if Indiana has an opportunity to continue playing basketball at the end of the season, I think they would do it. I mean, unless it's the CBI, we've obviously seen them turn down that in the past. But I think if they get an NIT berth, I think they're playing just to try to build that team chemistry towards next season.
I definitely do not see them turning down an NIT invitation.
Right.
I agree with you. I don't see them. Now, that's the only invitation they won't turn down. That CBI, I don't even know what the hell that thing is. That's just a pay-for-play kind of a deal. Ridiculous. I don't even know who plays in that.
Wasn't there? I want to say there's a 4th tournament too now, but one below the CBI even.
That's not possible.
I'm gonna look it up. I thought I remember that from last year.
What I meant was it's not possible that it's below the CBI. You can't get below the belly, the underbelly. That's as bad as it gets to pay to have to play in a tournament. But good idea by somebody to come up with. Wish I'd have thought about it.
Yeah, there is the CIT, the College Insider postseason tournament.
And what the hell's that?
That's the one I was thinking of.
I know, but what is that?
It was created in 2019, 32 teams. It only featured 26 teams in 2016 and 17. 2018 only had 20 teams. So already a tournament that's falling apart, not even 10 years old.
Why is it falling apart? It's taking more teams.
It's taking less teams. It started at 32 in 2000, or expanded to 32 in 2012. It was at 20 last year. It's a tournament oriented towards mid-major and small schools who don't get NCAA or NIT bids. Basically the same thing as the CBI, it sounds like.
Exactly. So I don't know how – maybe you don't have to pay to play in it.
Yeah, perhaps.
If that's the case, that will do away with the CBI pretty much. I don't understand how in the world that tournament can't fill itself when you get people paying to play in the CBI.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about payment.
Yeah, I don't see how they can't fill it. It must not be that. I mean, how good of a tournament can it be, really, I guess? But
yeah, who wants to play in the CIT? Nobody wants to play in the CBI. Nobody definitely wants to play in the CIT that nobody's heard of.
Yeah. Archie met with the media yesterday. Archie Miller, coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. I believe we have some of that.
Yes, he was asked about the mindset of the team following the Purdue game. That was a big thing going into the Purdue game, that the team had been in a good mindset all week practicing. Let's see what he had to say.
Last couple of days.
Well, we clearly had a really good approach going into the Purdue game. Disappointment over the weekend's game against Minnesota. Had some guys really kind of step outside themselves and communicate, openly, like we've talked about. We had a much better feel, a much better approach. And yesterday, I thought the guys were really good in film and some stuff that we worked on the floor. Today, we'll get back on the court again, and hopefully that's the case. That's the one thing that we have to hold ourselves accountable for right now, is the disposition of what we're trying to play and what purpose do we have. And I think if we can continue to do that, we'll continue to play hard, and we'll continue to play against really good teams and have opportunities.
Is that something?
Coach Archie Miller talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. We'll hear more from him later. As Indiana will travel to Iowa, or they have traveled to Iowa. They're at Iowa tonight. The game you can hear right here. That tip is at 9, so pregame will start at 8 with Don Fisher. That's Eastern time. If you're on Central, of course, those times drop back an hour to 8 and 7. But the game is at 9. Tip is at 9. Pregame starts an hour before with Don Fisher. Yeah. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good one. No postgame show with Todd Leary tonight. Next year we will do all games, even the 9 o'clock tips. But this year we're not doing the 9 o'clock games for technical reasons. Just it's too late. I don't think people are really going to be up there. But I'm on the road right now anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. But looking forward to this game tonight to see if Indiana can turn things around. Can they do it? I mean, I know they can, but will they do it? Will we see the kind of effort, the normal effort that they gave against Purdue, which was how they should have been playing all along, but at least effort-wise put themselves in a position to be able to compete for that game. They couldn't hit the ocean from a boat, but hopefully their shooting has come back. My God, that was a horrible display by both teams the other night, shooting. Atrocious. And that would be very, very disturbing to see Indiana shoot like that against a team that's not having a night like Purdue did the other night. They play like that against somebody, like this Iowa team, they lose by 30.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
A lot of input there.
I'm still planning in my head.
Still planning?
In my head what I want to say. But yeah, no, I think this Indiana-Iowa game tonight's going to be a lot of fun. You think back to the first time that they played. It was a pretty competitive game. Indiana had a chance to win that one as well. Defensively, I don't know that this Iowa team is as good as Purdue. So I think Indiana can have success. I agree with absolutely what you said earlier, that I like, at this point in the season, I like Indiana's odds better on the road than I do at home, which is really sad.
I'm going to assume those 6 losses that Iowa has, are all 6 of those on the road, or actually in Big Ten play, rather?
They are all in Big Ten play, yep.
Because, man, even with just 6 losses, what's the leader got? At least 3, if not 4?
Yeah, I think 3.
So they're up there. What are they sitting at, like 5th or something?
I believe 6th at this point.
6th?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're sitting up there pretty high. But that shows you how tough and deep the Big Ten is. Iowa has only lost 6 games this entire year. They're up there towards the top of the Big Ten, but they're in 6th.
Yeah.
6th. It's just a tight conference. My gosh, there's not. Well, we've talked about that all year. We already knew that. So, but man, big win if Indiana can pull this out. It'll certainly give them confidence that they could certainly use going forward to end the season on a good note. Yeah. And I think that is so critical for this team to end this season on a positive note. For the guys that are going to be coming back, they need to stay up and not get sucked into this quagmire of losing, because that can linger. So let the losing leave when the team ends its season. Let that just go away and come back fresh and renewed, hopefully. But if they could end this season on a nice little run, that would be a great confidence booster. It would be great for everything, the fan base, for recruiting. I think it would just be a good salvage to a horrible season. But we'll see what they can do. Their first opportunity is tonight out in Iowa. We'll see what they decide to do. It's on their shoulders. Yeah. It's their decision on whether or not they want to play hard, on whether or not they want to do the things that they've been practicing all freaking year.
Yeah,
there should be.
I want to. Your key word there was confidence. I think moving forward, they absolutely need to start winning games to get some confidence built toward next season. But you can still have some confidence towards the end of this season and put together a 5-6 games straight in a row where you're like, okay, it's a pretty good team moving forward. But you don't want to send guys like Juwan Morgan and Zach McRoberts. Don't send them out continuing to lose. Win a couple games. Have some fun. Play basketball.
Yeah, and I wonder, are we going to see Clifton Moore or Jake Forrester? I don't know if they're playing. We'll see. We'll see. We got a lot to do. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Todd Leary's on the show. We'll talk about that with Todd. Drew Davis is going to be on from Peaks.com. We got a lot to talk about in recruiting. So stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is back with more right after this.
Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Indiana Sports Beat, Jim Coyle with you here today. Hopefully you had a great weekend. You're ready for the weekend. Hopefully we can help you get there in that direction. Justin Kalen's high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Hope you're having a good day. Like I said, Todd Leary is going to be with us. We're going to hear from Drew Davis. We're going to talk about the 2021 class in the state of Indiana. Man, what a great bunch of talent. Tonight, Indiana takes on Iowa. We'll get to that as well. But before we do all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 22nd day of February 2019. As Indiana women back on the winning track after getting a nice resume-building win over number 10 Iowa last night, 75-73. And other Big Ten action, men's Michigan over Minnesota, 69-60. That game at Minnesota. And Indiana men's basketball back in action tonight at 9 o'clock. At Iowa. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 22nd day of February 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
Hey, welcome back to the program. Hit us up on the text line. Get started, 812-269-6367. Questions, comments for Todd Leary, Drew Davis. Fire them away. Whatever your thoughts are, make sure you like or follow us on Facebook. You can find this show rebroadcast on Apple Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, thedailyhoosier.com, or indianasportsbeat.com. Follow me on Twitter, at Jim Coyle, ISB. Lots of ways you can find us and get to us. So we trying to make it happen. Make it happen for the people. Again, hit us up on that text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts are. And this hour, of course, brought to you by Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995. Give them a call. Our friend John Sweetland, 812-944-5642. Man, Indiana's at Iowa tonight. Wondering who's going to show up, which team's going to show up. Wondering if we're going to see any more quote-unquote drastic changes. There's a large section of the fan base that is concerned with Archie Miller at being at the helm, and I understand the frustration and whatnot, but this guy didn't get to this position because he can't coach.
Right.
He didn't get to this position because he doesn't already have some success. And we're not talking about 1 year. This was a sustained deal. So it happens every time you see a culture change, most of the time. And that's going on right now. His system definitely requires a certain type of player, I think.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't have those players right now. Now, even of the players he's had this year, we know the injuries have been pretty devastating in that regard. So that certainly it's definitely cost them games. No doubt in my mind. It has definitely cost them games that I think it's hurt them enough that alone will keep them as part of what's kept them out of the NCAA tournament this year. I think there are games they could have won had they not been so beat up and banged up. So you can't lay that on Archie at all. There were 8 players that missed games this year from injuries. 8. That's a very, very, very high number. Yeah. That does not include the fact that one of those lost for the entire year, and another one basically the entire year. Thompson. Now, why didn't we see him in the game the other night?
It's a great question.
He comes in at Minnesota. We've been hearing about, and then boom, he disappears again.
Was it the only thing I could think of is maybe because of the aggressive nature of the game. I mean, guys diving all over the floor. Not really a game you want somebody who's coming off of a concussion to get into. But I mean, yeah, still, I still would have thought we'd see Race for 5-6 minutes in that ball game.
He's cleared to play, so he's cleared for contact. It's just, yeah. I mean, the contact is not so much kept him out recently. Hell, it was the flu.
Yeah.
So you need bodies. There's just a lot. There's so much that we don't understand because we don't know. When you're not in practice, and none of us are, it's hard to figure that stuff out from an outsider's perspective when it is puzzling as this is. And there's so many questions because there's been so much of it all year. You know, he hasn't played all year. Jerome Hunter didn't get to play all year. And then when you get him back and then he disappears again, you're like, okay, what now?
Yeah.
Just Hoosier fans are just ready to be able to move forward with all the parts and pieces, and I'm quite certain that Archie Miller is ready for that.
Yeah. Speaking of the flu, Tim Tex then asked, did everyone make the Iowa trip, and did Romeo get over his flu symptoms?
You know, I've not heard that anyone did not make the Iowa trip, so I'm going to say yes to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know about if Romeo was completely over his flu-like symptoms or not, but there, again, no mention. That probably would have come out yesterday. Archie Miller met with the media and talked about a lot of things. Tonight's game was one of those, but what are we going to hear, Justin?
One thing he talked about was getting consistent guard scoring. You're getting points from Romeo, but you're not getting as much as you need to from Devontae Green, from Rob Phinisee, from Al Durham. Let's hear what he had to say.
I think those guys we're trying to really get those guys to be aggressive right now. Rob, Devontae, Al as well. I mean, those guys know right now we need those guys to be aggressive. They have to have an aggressive mentality, and they have to be willing to try to make plays for us. And I think we had some opportunities in the game against Purdue where our guards were going to have to make some plays. It was a very well-defended game on both ends. It was a very hard, physical game where you weren't getting to the line a ton, so you're going to have to make some. And we weren't able to stretch the floor a whole lot from three, obviously, but we weren't also able to get a whole lot in the paint. I think we were 7 for 27 in and around the basket, so it was counterproductive. We didn't get a whole lot of anything going, and we missed some easy ones too.
Again, Archie talking about the game at Purdue. We'll hear from him about tonight's game next. Hear what he had to say about taking on Iowa as Indiana with 6 games left. A chance to end the season on a positive note. A chance to do things that can set them on a good course for next year, because right now they are a train wreck. And the train is off the tracks. They need to get that thing reestablished, and they've got a chance to do that. And I think this is important for Archie to get done, in my mind.
Yeah.
It's important for him to gather them, pull them together, and say, all right, you guys got to start playing.
Yeah.
If it's the other guys that you can't deal with, you don't have to as much a concern, but you've got to make sure you keep the guys' heads where they need to be, the ones that are coming back. And this team has just got to come together and give the effort that it gave at Michigan State, that it gave against Purdue. But the effort against Michigan State is what they have to have, where they hit shots, where everybody is playing hard all the time. They're not jogging up the court. If I see one more player jog up the court, it just burns my butt.
Yeah.
There are some lazy people on that team. And it amazes me that they are getting away with that this late in the season. But that's a whole different story. Yeah. But, yeah, all these guys are just not – I don't think that they're given 100% of the time, which I guess that's maybe unfair to ask. But, I mean, I don't think that they're given 100% 80% of the time.
I was going to go lower than that.
You don't see that 100% a lot, as a matter of fact. A lot of going through the motions from an appearance standpoint. I think it just leaves a lot of questions in people's heads. But again, not being in practice, people don't see how things are going during those times. But Archie talked about Iowa yesterday as well.
Yeah, he actually also touched on the line for chanting from the crowd. So we'll play that, and that'll parlay into the Iowa answer.
We have great fans. We have unparalleled support, and that arena the other night was electric, and it's one that you want to be in. Obviously, when it comes down to what was going on, what was said in the game, I wasn't paying attention to anything, so I didn't hear it until it was made a point to be afterwards. But especially don't want to get into the personal side of things with players. They're out there working hard. They're out there playing and competing. It's hard enough, to be in the public eye all the time. But, it was unfortunate, and we'll move on from it. Definitely don't ever condone any personal sort of attacks or things like that. But without questioning, the arena, though, was electric. Our fans are well regarded, and I think our university, handled it in a first-class manner.
It's kind of along those lines, when you have such an emotional, such a physical game that your team obviously put a lot toward. Is there a concern about that dropping off or having to maintain that to Iowa?
I don't think that you really, have the room to really think that way. I mean, we're going to have to be that way almost in every game, and if we're not, then we know that we're not going to be good enough to win. I mean, that effort level right there is something hopefully you can build on and hang your hat on and say, look, at the end of the day, make shots, don't make shots, good play, bad play. Continue with the disposition that you're in a competitive mind state, the whole team, everyone that's in there and everyone that's on the bench, everyone who's working in practice. That's what we have to hold ourselves accountable to find a way to crawl to the top and get a win. And, emotional game, yes, disappointing, yes, but it's our responsibility to be ready for Iowa. All right, cool.
Yes, it is their responsibility, and it is their responsibility as a team to figure out how they want to end this season.
Yeah.
I said that earlier. It's on their shoulders, and they can do it. It's, do they decide to do it?
Yeah.
And it is a conscious decision for these guys, because it's not something that's innate to them. Playing all out all the time is not natural for them.
Yeah.
So this is a decision that has to be made consciously, and they have to be consciously aware of it. And I think that's what happens. This is not innate to a lot of these guys. They're just not, this playing all out is just not what they do. It's not how they are. And I think they just forget to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, as dumb as that sounds, and it does sound dumb, I get it. It's the truth. They have to be reminded, hey, play hard. They have to be told, play hard. They have to tell themselves, oh, I need to play hard here.
And that's unfortunate, and definitely not something you need out of an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. At that point,
it's not unfortunate. It's unacceptable.
Oh, there you go, that too. But, I mean, when a kid's that old, 18, 19, 20 years old, you would expect them to be able to do things on their own. Go out there and play hard without having to be told. Go out there and run your sets without having to be told. It's just so frustrating watching this team, and it's almost like they've had to be babied all year long, which is extremely unfortunate.
They have been babied all year long.
Yeah.
Sports is the one place you usually don't have to tell people to work hard.
Right.
Sports is the one place where guys usually excel by pushing themselves. Sports is the place where people excel because they push themselves.
Yeah.
They push themselves more than someone else. And that's how you get ahead. That's how you start. That's how you do this. Not seeing that on this team much.
Yeah.
It's unusual. It's just unusual. It's just an unusual situation.
Yeah, tonight is one of those games that I'm not really sure from a fan perspective what we need to see from Indiana. We've touched on a lot of things today and this week as well. Just what do you want to see out of this Indiana team moving forward? I mean, what can they do these last 6 games and potential postseason games after that to make you feel good about heading into next season? Because to me, it's next season. I don't anticipate it's going to be much better than this, to be honest.
No, and what you have to see is you have to see them do exactly what I just said. You have to see them, I don't care if they have to be told, tell themselves, tie a ring or a string around your finger. I don't care. But they have to play hard these last 6 games. Yeah. To me, if I'm Archie Miller, it is anything else is unacceptable, and your ass is on the bench. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You jog back, your ass is on the bench. You screw up defensively, your ass is on the bench. Now, during the regular season, earlier, you would hope you wouldn't have to do that. Right. Or maybe that should have been done earlier, and you wouldn't have to be doing that now. I don't know. I don't know if they would have responded to that. I really don't. Maybe he has tried that, and they're not responding to that. Right. Maybe his hands are just tied because of what he's got. But that's what you have to see. Well, it's what you people should see. They should see this team, no matter what, just given the effort that they should have been given all year long, and putting themselves in a position to win games by being competitive. That is what this team has to do to me, or you take a season that has crashed and allow it to just fester in the offseason if that happens. In my thoughts, that's why I think you have to come home strong. Yeah. We got a lot coming up on the show. Todd Leary's with us. Drew Davis from Peegs.com will be with us next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat is coming back with more right after this.
Jim Boyle here at Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
Hey, Drew, how you doing, man?
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to the program, Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle here, and talk about making you smile. Rentals will make you smile. And we got Drew Davis. That should make you smile from Peaks.com. Drew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, Jim. How are you?
Can't complain. I can't complain. Hey, I've been talking earlier, and I told everyone when we got to it, we're going to talk about this class, this sophomore class in Indiana is just loaded with talent, man. I mean, some big-time talent and some that's probably going to get even better, but it's pretty strong at the top.
Yeah, it's really came together nicely as a class, and 2021 is a class that's very deep with talent as well. Potential for a lot of players to play Division I basketball, regardless of the low major level or the high major level or the mid major level, which is a very good sign for the state. Following up a 2020 class nationally that is a little more down. I know a lot of college coaches are very 2021 and how it's going to shake out. And at the top of it, you have Christian Lander, a 5-star point guard. We know what he's able to do, and then you have Caleb First, the big man from Fort Wayne Blackhawk, Christian, who's very skilled, got great touch, and he's a guy that will likely be a top 50 guy as well. And then you have Trey Kaufman, the forward from Silver Creek, who's about 6'8", really good passer. He's still getting used to his body, but he should be a really solid and really good college player. And then after that, start getting into you have guys like Jalen Blackman, the youngest Blackman brother, who's a sophomore. That Marianne, as I mentioned, he's in the running to potentially dethrone Damon Bailey as the all-time leading scorer if some things fall into place for him. And then you have Pierce Thomas, a very raw and athletic wing from Brownsburg who can jump. He can jump out of the gym. He's one of those guys. He's a track and field guy as well. Finished third in the state long jump as a freshman. And then you also have Colson Montgomery, who's a 3-sport athlete at Southridge, and basketball and baseball are really his thing, and he also plays football. But he's a very good basketball player as well. And you even have a guy like Kurt Hoff at Forest Park, who's a really solid basketball player as well. And the list goes on and on. Other guys are Blake Sisley from Harrison Hills, who already has an offer from the University of Evansville, and another guy to keep in mind is Cooper Jacoby from Silver Creek, who profiles a nice mid-major player.
Yeah, just a ton of great talent there, and we've talked about a lot of these guys. We've talked a lot about Christian Lander, of course, from Wrights High School. We've talked a ton about him. He's probably the crown jewel of the class, I guess. He's the highest-rated player in the class. He's already gotten a ton of offers. He favors Michigan. That's a team he loved growing up, and he's going there this weekend. Indiana not playing well right now. Is that playing into his recruitment?
Can you repeat that?
I said that right now,
Christian Lander's a guy that we've talked about a ton. He's got a ton of offers. Because we got a few years for any of this stuff comes to fruition as far as whether or not where they go and whatnot. But we know that Christian grew up a Michigan fan, and he's heading to Michigan this weekend, and Sunday they're going to make the long drive up there. But Michigan playing extraordinarily well, Indiana not having the season that many expected. How much of that will play into his recruitment, do you think?
I don't think at the end of the day, Indiana struggles in year 2 will be a big thing with Christian. Now if Indiana's still not playing that well in year 3 and 4, I do think that could hurt them with Christian. Not just their play and results on the court, but the overall direction of what Archie would be heading in at that point if they weren't playing well, what could potentially hurt them. But I'm I'm not going to make too much results in year two, and I think most recruits understand that. Christian certainly does as well. And, with him going to Michigan this weekend, I imagine that's largely in part to, as you mentioned, that's a team he grew up a fan of, and he's going to make the trip up there for the Michigan State game. So we'll see what happens there, and I think it's just an opportunity for him to go watch a good college basketball game.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other guys that we haven't talked a lot about, Drew. I mean, there's who's the best player that's under the radar in that class, in that group?
I would say probably, if I had to say under the radar, I'd probably say Colson Montgomery, just because he plays a lot of baseball, and that limits his summer basketball opportunities. So I would say he kind of slides under the radar. Most people know about him. There's a lot of people that don't, because they don't get a chance to see him over the summer as much.
And he's someone that doesn't get seen a lot. He's in Huntingburg, Indiana. He's near the Evansville area, but outside of it enough that kind of doesn't get as much attention.
Yeah, he's a guy that, whatever ball he picks up and whatever sport it is, he seems to win in it. He's a kid that, as a freshman at Southridge, he picked up a state title as I think it was a backup quarterback on the football team. And then, he leads them their first basketball sectional in 10 years, and then takes them to the baseball state title. And then as a sophomore, for the football season, he follows it up by taking them to semi-state as he slid in as the starting quarterback of the football team. He's a kid that just, like I said, he finds a way to win, and he's having a really nice basketball season. And, with these guys that come over for football, sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to get into the groove, and he's able to really find that once the calendar year, flipped over, and he's been shooting the ball really well. And he's a guy that is a lefty, about 6'4", 6'5", can really score the ball. He's a really, really smooth athlete. Just kind of glides, I would say, would be the word to describe him. And he's a guy that I'm really looking forward to watching over the next 2 years.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed, Drew, is that normally Indiana produces great talent year in, year out, no matter what. But normally it's kind of driven by talent out of the Indianapolis area, at least. This year, or that year, this sophomore class is fueled by players from either the northern part of the state or a great deal of them from the southern part of the state.
Right. That's kind of rare, actually. A lot of times most of the talent's coming out of Indy in that area. But, in that class, you have, a lot of talent up north, whether it be, Caleb First up there in the northern part of the state, or in the southern part of the state where you have, Christian Lander, Trey Kaufman, and a host of others. And, I think this is one of the better classes for southern Indiana, and in quite some time of it, it keeps shaping out the way it is right now.
Yeah, because there's guys that we haven't even talked about this year out of Southern Indiana, or we have previously, but they're not going, like Kobe Barnes. He's not going to Indiana. He's going to Indiana State, but another top player in Southern Indiana this year. So Southern Indiana has really gotten strong again here of late. Obviously Romeo Langford came out of New Albany, another Southern school. So the southern part of the state has really been producing some talent.
Right. It's been a nice run for Southern Indiana. Obviously Romeo Langford coming out of Southern Indiana, the very bottom part of Indiana, even though he's right across the river from Louisville. Really, really historic player, and at the end of the day, when you look back on things in high school basketball, and it's just kind of kept the guys coming out of Southern Indiana, and that's a very good sign for the state, and especially for the in-state schools when the state has as many talented players in a class as they do, and I know the coaches in the state are hoping that will continue.
Absolutely. Drew Davis, I
Hello, everybody.
appreciate you,
Jim
brother,
Coyle
from Peaks.com. I hope you have a great weekend and get a lot of what games are you going to go see this weekend?
Well, I'll actually be heading out to Iowa, so I won't get to see anyone this weekend, but I'll be back and be ready for sectional play beginning next week.
You going to the Iowa game, Indiana team, tonight?
Yeah, making a long trip out there today.
Wow. Better get on the road. I'll let you go. Drew Davis from Peaks.com. I appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you on Monday and see how the game goes.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good weekend.
You as well. Drew Davis from Peaks.com. Hey, we got a lot more coming up on the show. Of course, our good friend Todd Leary is with us next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back right after this.
Located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Hope your week's going well, and we're going to end it with a bang. Got Todd Leary with us, our good friend. Todd, how are you, brother?
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing fine, man. We're getting by. Got another game on tap tonight, though. Indiana travels to Iowa, a place that you're familiar with. You've been there. You were there many times. But for some strange reason, this is a team I think may do better on the road to get away from the pressures of home, of these losses that have built up. It's a weird thing, but I think they actually play better on the road maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, there are some teams that kind of have that makeup. And, if you're going to pick a place to go on the road that's kind of an easy shooting environment, I think I told you before, Iowa is one of those gyms that's just easy to shoot in. And so with the slump this team, or not, I guess it's not a slump when it happens all year long, but the poor shooting this team has had throughout the season, this could be a place for them to go into and make some shots and hopefully gain some confidence and try to make some kind of run towards the end of the year here.
Yeah, that's one of the things I said earlier. I think that this team has to just make a conscious decision, and I think with them it has to be a conscious decision every game to play hard. They're not just – it's not natural for some of these guys to just go all out all the time. And unfortunately, this team, Iowa, that they're playing is not a slouch. They're 20-6. They've had a great season. They beat Michigan by 20, or they had them up by 20 at one point, but a big win over Michigan. They're also in the top 4 in the Big Ten in league games in adjusted offensive efficiency, 3-point field goal percentage, 2-point field goal percentage, and effective field goal percentage. Nobody averages shorter possessions. The Hawkeyes are a fast team, and they're efficient.
Yeah, they're difficult to play against because there's not really one or two players that you can try to stop and shut them down. They have had different guys step up. I think they kind of have the makeup that we all, as Indiana fans, kind of thought Indiana might have this year, where they overachieved and beat some teams that you might have considered a tough win for the night. Iowa's got some older players. We keep saying this game in and game out when Indiana plays against more veteran teams. But, when teams have several juniors and seniors that have played through the Big Ten battles before, the Indiana team tends to struggle against those teams. And Iowa is definitely one of those. I mean, their makeup is a lot like what Purdue's is, minus a Carson Edwards type player. But when they came into Assembly Hall, I mean, obviously they had a couple guys get hot towards the end of the first half, and that second half they shot the lights out. So, this will be a tough place to go into not because of the venue or the crowd. It really doesn't seem to, even in some of the really good teams that we played against back when I was at Indiana, they never seem to fill that arena. So it's not like it's a crazy loud place that's going to have that big of an effect on you. But this is the thing that's going to have the bad effect on Indiana is the veteran play and the tough leadership that Iowa's team is built on, and then Indiana's tend to struggle against teams like that.
Yeah, the one good thing is the weaknesses on Iowa's side is on the more defensive than offensive. It's been 3 years since they've had a top 30 defensive team, and right now they're right around 100. And they're really susceptible around the rim. They allow opponents to hit over 52% of their 2-point shots, and that number climbs to 55% in league play, which is the worst in the Big Ten. A great opportunity for Deron Davis and Jawan Morgan to really do some work down there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time for Indiana to establish, some type of identity on the offensive end of the floor, and it hasn't proven to be a super effective outside shooting team. So I think maybe trying to get it inside and play a little bit more through those guys closer to the rim. We say that we think that might be the cure, but Indiana has struggled to play against double teams, and when teams can go inside and double, and they really only have to make up for one outside shooter that they have to make sure is covered, it just makes it very difficult to go inside out. So once that ball goes inside, it almost needs to be a quicker move or a quicker pass before the double team can get there, because Indiana hasn't shown the ability to play all that well and rotate and make good cuts against double teams on the post.
Yeah, and another item, they're not Iowa, not very good at forcing turnovers. That's one of their weaknesses, and that's thank goodness for Indiana, because they have been turnover prone, especially here of late. The last game in Purdue, they had 17 turnovers, very high number for this time of year. But Iowa does not force a lot, so that hopefully will help Indiana with some ball security, because that's been a problem for them.
Yeah, it is, and especially when you're talking about 17 turnovers in a game you only scored 46 points in. Obviously, and you only lost by 2. Obviously, several of those turnovers happened at key moments in the game, and those turned out to be the difference in a win and a loss for Indiana. So, taking care of the basketball, Iowa's a team that, they like to pressure the ball a little bit. They like to, I think in the past few years, I think their tendencies have been to come up with some different schemes on defense. So you may see them double the post, maybe on the first dribble. You may see them run and double the post right away. You see them try to create turnovers against the other team by kind of gimmicky or scheming defenses. Indiana coming off of what they just did, I'm sure we'll see some kind of goofy matchup zone or some kind of half-court trap or something that Iowa will go to, because I think everybody kind of senses the same thing. Indiana doesn't have that leader on the floor that's going to step up and recognize what the defense is and figure out how to get the players where they need to be to solve it and beat that defense. So I think Iowa will definitely try to exploit Indiana and create the same amount of turnovers or even more than what they had in the last ball game.
And they've got some good players, especially down low, and Tyler Cook and Luke Garza, great 1-2 punch. Garza's a 6'11", man, he's a big guy, and Cook is 6'9". That's going to pose a problem for Indiana, but defensively, they haven't been too good at that. So hopefully Jawan Morgan and Deron Davis and maybe Race Thompson, who we didn't see after the Minnesota game, but hopefully they can really have some success down there in the paint.
Yep, it would be. I kind of said it after the ball game. What was it, on Saturday? When Archie had said that they were going to have this was a deal breaker, and we were kind of expecting a bunch of big changes. I wasn't really sure that to have a game 3 days later against your in-state rival was the time that would really happen. Maybe probably only 1 day of practice and 1 day of walkthrough prior to that game. I'm kind of thinking maybe this might be the game we see a little bit more change than what maybe more along the lines of what we expected, there to be some drastic changes. And seeing a guy like Race Thompson get in there and some of the guys who have come in and played a little more sparing minutes, it might be time to see, what they could do. And honestly, you and I have talked about it. Yes, we still have that hope in the back of our mind that they're going to make a run and do something that would catch everybody's eye and possibly win the Big Ten tournament. But it's almost kind of wishful. It is definitely wishful thinking at this point. And so, I'm ready to see some of those other guys play and see, what Indiana has to build on for next year.
Yeah, because the NCAA tournament that ship has sailed. So I don't. If you're not doing that, I know you don't know what the thought process is, but if we're not seeing Jake Forrester, and we're not seeing Clifton Moore, we're not seeing Demezy Anderson like we haven't, in your mind, what do you think the thinking is, especially since those are guys that you would like to see develop?
Yeah, I mean, this is no better time to see where guys are, what point they're at, and things they need to work on over the summer than right now in some late Big Ten games, especially when these games are very important to the opponent. These guys are playing for not only seeding into the Big Ten tournament to hopefully make a run there, but they're also playing for seeding into the NCAA tournament. So these last few games for Indiana outside of maybe the Rutgers game. These last few games, everyone really has something to play for. So, it's a tough battle for Indiana, and I'm ready for. I hate to say it. I don't want to say I'm giving up completely, but I'm ready to see some different guys on the court. I'm ready to see, if these guys coming in can hustle and they can get something going that we can all talk about all summer long and be excited about.
Yeah, and when you were a freshman and when you went into your sophomore year, how valuable was it getting to play as a freshman when you went into the sophomore year? How much of a difference could you see?
Yeah, everyone tries to explain to you, when you get in there that the Big Ten season is, things are different in the Big Ten season. And, our freshman year, we had 7 guys that came in, and we started the season out 10-0. And so we went into the Big Ten season undefeated. And, at that point, we were feeling pretty good about ourselves. And you talk about getting smacked in the mouth. We went into the Big Ten season, and it is a completely different animal. Like, it is. People play harder, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're more physical. The refs let things go a little bit more, and there's a big difference between playing in the Big Ten and playing some of those other smaller conference teams. And so that season after your freshman year, you kind of know how much you need to worry. Going into your freshman year, I don't know exactly how they do it now, but we played a lot of AAU and traveled around. I wouldn't say we were in the weight room as much as we definitely were. Once school started from that point on throughout our career, the summers then, we were really, we never went home. We were always there. We would get like a week off in the summer, and that's it. We were always there lifting and working out. And, that's something you learn after you've been there for a year. I hated it at the time, but I redshirted my sophomore year. I had knee surgery in between my freshman and sophomore year, and I really did not want a redshirt. And I'll tell you, in the long run, it was one of the best things that I did. But at the time, I fought it, and I hated it every second of it. It's tough to practice that hard and do all that stuff all year long and not get to play in any games. And so, but as your question, freshman to sophomore year, I mean, there's a gigantic difference in guys when they come back as sophomores. Just their bodies alone generally are bigger and more physical.
And then when you were coming out of high school, and everybody tells you, you hear, hey man, it's a big jump. There's a big difference in caliber of player, talent level, the speed of the game, all these different things that you hear about. But until you actually experience it, how much different was it really from the high school level to that when you first went into that next level in college at IU? How much different was it?
It's almost hard to even put it into words. You hear, I think one of the things that you see when you get a guy like, like a Calbert Chaney, or you get someone like that, I mean, what they're able to do, and this didn't make sense to me for a long time, but they're basically, the game slows down for them. Like, once you get to a certain point, the game slows down for you. When you first go in as a freshman, I weighed 165 pounds. And, everyone on the floor is taller than me and more athletic than me and faster than me and stronger than me and everything. And so, it really is difficult to go in and have a huge impact when all those things factor into it. But as you get older and you're able to, you recognize defenses a little bit quicker, and you recognize when guys are trapping and what they're playing and when they're switching, and the game slows down for you. I don't really know how to explain it better than that. It's just from maturity and experience and going through it over and over again. We were fortunate. We had 9 or 10 solid players on our team. So every day in practice, there's not a huge drop off between the first team and the second team. And so, we had a lot of guys when I was there, a lot of guys that were on the second team or what would be considered the practice squad, or guys that ended up being, all Big Ten players as they got older, like a Brian Evans and Alan Henderson and stuff, things like that. So, it's not like our second unit was a huge drop-off. And, that made it, I think, a little easier for us because in practice we're still fighting against, really good players all the time. But it's really hard to explain. When you can slow the game down and it's not going faster than you, and, that's why I think injuries are such a big deal, because when you miss a few games and you come back into it, the speed of the game, it's hard to catch up to that again. And it takes 2 to 3, 5 games maybe before you really get your legs back underneath you, and mentally you could slow the game down. And so it's as big a mental thing as it is physical, but obviously, the more experience, the time they can get on the court, the better some of these younger guys will be in their second and third years.
Yeah, and unless you're a superstar, an impact player, most freshmen don't make a huge impact. But then you have people like Romeo, Zion Williamson, the different guys at different levels. But that really puts a light on how good someone like Romeo, his talent really is, that he can come in and compete at this level immediately. I mean, his shot wasn't there at the beginning of the year, but it's starting to come around. But what was there was his ability to take the ball to the rim against this upper-level talent.
Yeah, I mean, that truly, I've tried to explain to people over and over again that, the fact that Romeo struggles to shoot the ball is not a factor that NBA scouts are going to count against him all that much. His ability to finish at the rim, being a freshman, he stands out significantly in how he's able to get that rebound above the rim or finish a finger roll that it seems like he's got super stretch arms where he's 5 feet from the basket and somehow he finger rolls it in. And his ability to finish around the basket it's different than most other freshmen, but it's different than most other upperclassmen as well. I mean, he's a special talent when it comes to scoring the basketball around the rim, and he'll have a bigger opportunity to do that in the NBA where the floor is spread out a little bit more. Everybody says the guys are so much bigger, and they'll bang you a lot more. And, Romeo he doesn't. You don't see him get all that fired up one way or the other out on the court. I mean, he takes the hits and he takes a lot of stuff, and you don't see a whole lot of complaints from him. And he's going to continue to get bigger and stronger. I think it's pretty obvious he's bigger now than he was last year, and that'll only continue as he goes to the NBA. So Romeo's a special talent. He's not. He's not beating everyone because he's like a Zion Williamson that's just insanely athletic and just that much bigger than everyone else, but he has a special ability to finish around the rim, and scouts see that immediately, and it doesn't matter what else he does. They'll draft him on that alone.
Absolutely, and just again, it just shows how talented he really is when you can, as a freshman, compete at this level. And to be his shot wasn't there for most of the year. It's come around here of late, but he's still been averaging, been the leading scorer for freshmen in the Big Ten. And to do that without a shot, when he didn't have his shot working, to me makes it that much more impressive.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. I mean, when he has a consistent 20-foot jump shot that goes down, and 23-foot jump shot that goes down for three-pointers, and it's amazing the potential that he still has. The upside for him is gigantic, and like we said, he's already shown a pretty unique ability to finish the baskets around the rim, and for NBA scouts to look at what he still can accomplish and get better at, that's upside to them, and so that's the profit in the game for them, and that's why Romeo will still, even with Indiana not having the season that I think a lot of people expected him to, and maybe his leadership qualities are not quite as good as what the NBA scouts would want. But you know what? They've got leaders on their team. They've got veterans on those teams, and they'll teach him how to be a better leader, and they'll teach him how to be more consistent shooting the ball. Like I said, he's a unique talent, and they're going to draft him on his potential more than what he's done throughout the season. But like you said, I mean, he's leading freshman scorer in the Big Ten, and let's not act like that's not a big deal. That's pretty impressive for him to come in and do. It's just too bad there hasn't been more help from other guys to step up, and it's a shame that he hasn't been able to play better. I don't think he would tell you that he has played all the way to his top potential as a freshman. So a lot more good things out of him, and just unfortunately, it probably won't be in an Indiana uniform.
That's it, Todd. I appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you, and hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate it, boss. Talk to you.
You betcha. Todd Leary, our good friend, joining us, talking about Romeo Langford there of late. But what a great talent he is. Hey, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Make sure you catch the Hoosiers tonight as they take on the Hawkeyes right here. That game time tip is at 9. Pregame starts at 8. Those are Eastern times. If you're on Central time, it's an hour earlier at 8 and 7. But that's going to wrap it up for us. We appreciate everybody. For Justin, I'm Jim Coyle, and you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you on the radio.